For as long as you've been alive, you've used something every single day that barely anyone truly understands. It buys you food, fuels economies, and decides the fate of entire nations. It sparks wars, ends empires, and rules global power more quietly than any king in history. Yet almost nobody can answer the simplest question: what is money, really? Some say it's paper. Some say it's numbers on a screen. Some say it's trust. But the truth is far stranger, because money as we know it is not an object. It's an architecture, a constructed reality. System designed so perfectly, so invisibly, that you don't even notice you're inside it. Tonight, we peel back the walls of that structure and reveal the hidden blueprint behind the greatest monetary illusion ever created, an illusion powerful enough to keep nations, obedient citizens dependent, and the world in a state of permanent controlled chaos. Welcome to the secret architecture behind money's greatest illusion in history. Setting the stage. Before we can expose the illusion, we need to travel back far beyond modern banks, beyond central banks, even beyond coins and gold, to the moment money first stopped being a thing and started becoming a system. Because money did not evolve naturally. It was engineered. It's engineered by rulers who wanted power. Engineered by empires who needed control. Engineered by elites who discovered a dangerous insight. If you control money, you don't need to control people. People will control themselves. But this didn't happen overnight. It happened in layers, like the levels of a hidden building. Each level added another piece to the illusion. So let's walk through this structure, floor by floor. When money was real, for most of human history, money had a physical anchor: grain, cattle, silver, shells, gold. It was limited, tangible, and hard to fake. In ancient Mesopotamia, clay tablets recorded debts between merchants. In Lydia, stamped gold coins became the world's first standardized currency. In Rome, emperors discovered the first major financial cheat code: debasement, mixing cheaper metals into coins to create more money without more gold. But even then, people could still see money. They could hold it, they could weigh it, they could test it. The illusion had not yet begun. That would come with the next architectural layer, a layer so revolutionary that it changed the definition of money forever. The birth of the invisible ledger. Fast forward to medieval Europe. Kings needed armies. Armies needed weapons. Weapons needed money. But gold was heavy, risky to transport, easy to steal. So goldsmiths began storing gold for wealthy merchants and issuing paper receipts as proof of deposit. These receipts were convenient, portable, tradable, and soon people realized something remarkable. The receipts were easier to use than the gold itself. That single convenience triggered one of the greatest transformations in economic history. Paper stopped representing gold and slowly started replacing it. Goldsmiths began issuing more receipts than they had gold in their vaults, betting that not everyone would come for their gold at the same time. And just like that, fractional reserve banking was born. The illusion had officially begun. A new power emerges. This new system rewarded one group more than anyone else: the issuers of credit. Because now money could be created simply by lending it. No need to dig gold. No need to mint coins. No limit except confidence. Whoever controlled the receipts controlled the economy. This led to the rise of powerful banking families across Europe. Most famously, the Rothschilds, who mastered the art of credit, lending to kings and governments. Wars, revolutions, diplomacy, all began to orbit around who could access credit, who could create it, and who could weaponize it. And then the system evolved again, because paper was only the beginning. Governments realized the true potential wasn't the receipts, it was the monopoly, a monopoly on money creation. So they built something new: the central bank. The blueprint expands. Central banking, the Bank of England, is created not to protect citizens, but to finance government debt. This was the moment the architecture gained its second major layer. Government debt became the foundation of national currency. The government borrowed money. The central bank printed money. The public used that money. And the cycle could repeat indefinitely. But there was a catch. A hidden feature disguised as a flaw. The system required permanent debt. Because if all debts were ever repaid, the money supply would vanish. This was the silent trick behind the architecture. Money wasn't just tied to debt. Money was debt. From that moment on, every dollar, pound, and note represented a promise, a liability, a future claim. The illusion was growing stronger, but one more transformation was needed for it to become unstoppable, the breaking point. When money lost its anchor, for centuries, paper money still had one tether to reality: gold. But in the 20th century, everything changed. World War I forced nations to suspend gold convertibility. The Great Depression fractured the global financial order. World War II birthed the Bretton Woods system, pegging currencies to the US dollar and the dollar to gold. It was a compromise, a half-illusion, half-banker hybrid. But by the late 1960s, the architecture was cracking. America was printing more dollars than it had gold to back them. Foreign nations started requesting gold in exchange for dollars. Gold reserves drained rapidly. On August 15, 1971, President Richard Nixon did what no empire had dared in 3,000 years. He severed money from physical reality. The dollar was no longer exchangeable for gold, floated freely, untethered, unlimited, unbacked. This was the moment money became a pure idea, a construct, a mathematical belief system maintained by central banks, commercial banks, and digital ledgers. The greatest illusion in financial history was complete: the fallout. The era of infinite money. Once money lost its anchor, everything changed. Governments could run endless deficits, banks could expand credit exponentially, corporations could leverage debt to grow, consumers could borrow across a lifetime. The result? Global debt has grown over 30x since 1971. Every major currency has lost 90 to 99% of its purchasing power. The financial sector now extracts more value from the economy than manufacturing, industry, or agriculture. Crashes became cyclical: 2000, 2008. 2028's more explosive than the last. Yet, the system continued to function, not because it worked, but because it had no alternative. Governments, banks, corporations, and citizens were now trapped inside the architecture. The structure demanded infinite growth to service infinite debt. But infinite growth, on a finite planet, cannot last forever. Failed fixes, patching a broken system since 1971. Every major financial crisis has revealed cracks in the architecture. Crisis 1. Inflationary spirals, central banks raise interest rates, triggering recessions. Crisis 2. Debt explosions. Governments borrow more to stimulate growth, increasing the long-term burden. Crisis 3. Banking instability. Banks take greater risks, expecting bailouts. Crisis 4. Wealth inequality. Asset inflation enriches the top 1% while wages stagnate. Every fix is temporary. Every solution deepens the next crisis. Because you cannot patch a design flaw. The flaw is simple. Money that is created as debt must grow forever or collapse. This is not an economic accident. It's the architecture. Modern parallels. The pattern returns today. The illusion is more invisible than ever. Money isn't paper, it's digits. Algorithms, strings of data moving between servers. Over 90% of all global money exists only electronically, and yet the same ancient pattern repeats. Step 1. Create money. Step 2. Expand debt. Step 3. Inflate assets. Step 4. Trigger crisis. Step 5. Rescue system with more money. Rinse, repeat forever. But here's the twist. This architecture isn't failing. It's functioning exactly as designed, because the purpose of the system isn't stability. It's dependency. People depend on money they don't control. When nations depend on debt they can never repay, and when the entire world depends on a currency created from nothing, the creators of that currency rule the world without ruling it. That is the illusion. That is the architecture. The blueprint revealed. So what is the secret architecture behind money's greatest illusion? It is built on 5 foundational pillars. Money is created as debt. All new money enters the system through loans. Debt must grow forever. If debt stops growing, the system collapses. Inflation is not a flaw, it is a feature. Governments benefit from paying back old debts with cheaper money. Central banks are not neutral. They are the architects controlling the supply, cost, and flow of money. The public never sees the blueprint. They see the symptoms, prices, wages, loans, but never the structure behind them. This structure shapes everything you experience. Why you must work harder to buy the same things. Why governments are always in debt, regardless of who is in power. Why financial crises keep repeating. Why the wealthy grow richer during recessions. Why global power is shifting toward whoever controls the creation of currency. The architecture is invisible, but its effects rule your daily life. 3 takeaways. Takeaway number 1. Money is no longer a thing. It's an engineered system built on debt, designed to expand forever. Crises, inflation, and inequality are not glitches. They are built into the architecture. Takeaway number 3. Understanding the system doesn't break it, but it frees you from being controlled by it. Final warning, we are living through the late stages of a monetary experiment that has no historical precedent. Never before has the world run entirely on debt-based digital currency. Never before has every nation been trapped in the same financial web. And never before has the illusion been so complete or so fragile, because illusions don't collapse slowly, they vanish. And when this one goes, it will reshape the world. If you want to understand the hidden mechanics behind global finance, currency power, and the economic forces shaping your life, then make sure you don't miss the next video. Like, subscribe, and join me as we continue uncovering the structures the world was never meant to see,